Welcome to the Beyond Electric Sheep podcast. I'm Rick Thompson.
And I'm Ed Daniels.
Ed, you were just sharing with me a really interesting concept around access to intelligence, referring to AI. Why don't you describe that, and we'll talk a bit about it.
Well, there's this saying, it's that the future is here. It's just not evenly distributed. And I think that's true with AI. Now we have, you and I have been playing with AI now in its modern form for, 3 years.
So 3 already? You're right. 2.5, 3,
3 years. And, we're so excited about it. We talk to other people that are in the same situation as we are. They're excited about it. It's spreading around the business world, the scientific community. And, there are a lot of people that are really excited. There are also people that use it for recreation and enjoyment and companionship and things like that. But I believe that there's also a large layer or underlayer of people in the U.S. and certainly around the world that aren't exposed to AI. They don't understand it. They may misunderstand it, or they might not have ever heard of it even. And those people are going to be at a tremendous disadvantage in the workforce as AI becomes a prerequisite to get any kind of a decent job.
Yeah, interesting. So I can't imagine someone not having heard of it or having an idea of what it is, but it's possible they wouldn't have access. We looked up a stat just recently just to see how many people in the U.S. have smartphones. It's something like 90% of adults have smartphones, and so you feel like, okay, well, with that, you've got access to AI tools. At least for now, they're free. I don't know how long that'll last. I remember when Uber came out,
Yep.
It was really cheap. Same with like Airbnb, super cheap and easy to use. And then once they hit a critical mass, then they started pricing it for making a profit. And
Right.
It's not so much anymore. And I wonder if that may happen with AI. We'll see.
And the layering of AI also with the more advanced and capable tools costing money that people can't afford
Yeah.
versus the lower level tools. I mean, I'm sure I know they're working on embedding advertising and promotion
Right.
in AI. So
That'll come. They'll pay for it that way. Plus, it keeps getting cheaper,
Right.
like by orders of magnitude. But anyway, you had a concept, sort of like when electricity came around,
Right.
and not everybody had access to that.
for any city community to be successful, they were going to have electricity. To have an advanced household with electric lights, you need to have an electricity feed. So there was a big movement called electrification,
Yeah.
and they started stringing wires all throughout cities and then between cities and standing up generating plants, and it was a big deal. They created the Tennessee Valley Authority to create hydroelectric power out in the east, southeast, Kentucky, those areas, and Tennessee, of course. And so it was a big movement to just electrify the whole country and move it forward tremendously. So to me, there's a great analog here to intelligence, artificial intelligence, and making intelligence available to the masses, and so I call it Intellification.
Right. Okay. I like that. It's kind of funny. But the same thing's happening with sort of broadband access,
Yep.
right? You want to get broadband access to all rural areas. Now there's arguments about should we do it with fiber optics or now maybe with the SpaceX
Right,
tools.
low Earth orbit satellites.
Yeah.
Right.
I know there's a few other competitors coming.
Starlink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Intellification, I think you're right. I think there's got to be some democratization of that because as you look at, Sam Altman has been talking about the gentle singularity, the idea that we can get to AGI or even ASI and it won't be scary and an existential risk because it's going to happen a little more slowly than we thought and won't displace people. One of the big things that needs to happen for that to be true is equality, people having equal access to these tools or somewhat equal access so that you
Right.
don't get a concentration of power or an even further concentration of wealth than we already have.
Right.
And so there will have to be, social policy and so on to
Right.
take that on, I think. So I think you're right. I think that will come. if we're going to have a gentle singularity.
Right. So I declare the Intellification movement,
All right.
which we can start right here and now.
Okay.
And the idea being to spread the access to intelligence to everybody in the U.S. and around the world and give them access to it. Like you pointed out, low Earth orbit satellites like Starlink and others are going to make this available to anybody, any place. That doesn't mean they get the premium version, but just having access to intelligence and the education on how to use it and how not to misuse it. What are the capabilities? How do you know when you're being fooled? Or, what are the kind of things that you should use an AI device for and you shouldn't use it for? How could you do complex math? How can you set up a prompt to help you learn with every single interaction so that you're not just taking the easy way out and putting your brain on hold and just letting the AI do it? What about just doing a simple prompt that will help you learn every single time you do something?
Yeah, so it's not just actually having access, because everybody who has any access to the internet right now can use really good tools for free.
Right.
I don't know how long that'll last, but it's more than that. You're saying you can't just. You and I both meet people that will say, "Yeah, I tried it. It's kind of interesting. It's not that great." That's changing pretty quickly. I talk to more and more people that use it for everything. They don't use Google anymore. But you're going to have to deal with that.
Well, and when you're using Google, you're actually using Gemini and getting access to, AI analysis. So I think that's it is getting very pervasive, but that doesn't mean everybody has access to it, and it certainly doesn't mean everybody understands it or how to use it most effectively.
Yeah. That's an interesting concept. How do you think that it has to be government driven, right? Is there any incentive? Actually, there may be incentive for commercial entities to do it so they can advertise.
I think so. The way that I think about it is, I was just thinking, think of all these WeWork type facilities, shared work environment, and why would XAI and OpenAI and Google Gemini and Anthropic Claude, and why would not all of these organizations want to be able to provide for new learners, for kids, for old people, for people that don't have access? Why would they not want to provide a free subscription, make it just limited in length or something, or limited in number of tokens that you can access or something? Make that available. You could have today, Monday's Claude Day and Tuesday's Open AI Day. Give, exposure to kids to all these different tools in a controlled environment where you've got actually a human teacher or somebody to kind of help guide them on the best path. I think it'd be a great promotional opportunity for them. It'd be able to argue that they're, doing something for the benefit of the public. And, I think it could be a popular thing, a fun thing, and certainly a beneficial thing.
Yeah. The big three foundation LLM model companies, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, all do a ton. They make a lot of really good content available, videos, white papers, websites to teach you how to use these tools better. I mean, they're fantastic. It does have I think, a commercial benefit to them, because if they teach someone to use their tool better, they might pay the $20 or $25 a month, or the $200 a month, whatever it is, or pay for the API access. But I don't think that's enough. I think it's going to take an actual public works type of approach.
Well, like I said, Tennessee Valley Authority. I mean, there are plenty of mechanisms. I thought creating a public benefit corporation, which is sort of, it's for profit, but also has a public benefit associated with it. It's a legal structure that's available, but all these things could be done, and it is a public benefit. You think about creating the next new level of workforce. We've talked previously about the impact of AI on jobs and what kind of an impact it's going to have, and the fact that a basic ante to get into the workforce is going to be understanding how to use AI. Well, here's the way to create this new generation of people that know how to use AI in a positive way.
I think you're right. I was at a networking event with a bunch of tech and AI people recently, and I asked them how much AI is an important part of their interviewing process for new IT resources and engineering resources, and really it isn't yet. But people are starting to think about it, and I think it will become really important, and people are going to need to have that. Now, the tech people should be the ones that are able to adopt it most quickly, but I think that type of prerequisite for certain jobs will start to transfer to non-tech as well, I think.
Definitely. And, and I think about this, I think there's a lot of tools and classes and things like that the tech people can be plugged into and can utilize. I think of this as a little more base level. I'm talking kids and people in high school and old people that aren't exposed to it or don't know how to use it or are somewhat mystified by it. Anyway, I think it's something that would be good for the country, good for the world overall, and I think it's worth thinking about.
Important, and maybe important for that gentle singularity too, the smooth takeoff rather than a scary one.
Exactly.
All right. Those are really interesting thoughts. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.